Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold, and thank you very much for spending some time with us here on the Canes Corner podcast, brought to us by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy and his crew do a great job. So if you need siding or roofing or windows or entry doors, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I had a completely different show prepared midway through the third period because I was going to say things based on what I watched for the first almost 30 minutes of this game. I was going to say things that were probably going to blow your mind. I was going to say things like, yeah, I didn't hate Carolina's game tonight. Yeah, I hate the mistakes, but I didn't hate Carolina's game tonight. And that was going to make people's heads explode because how is it possible that you could be trailing 3-0 but not playing poorly? Because I didn't think they were playing poorly. And I do, I 100% understand. We are a results-based business. But the process leads to the results. The process leads to the production, just to keep the, alliteration kind of going. And the head coach is a process guy. First and foremost, he's a process guy because he believes it. He believes that if you do things a certain way, you will have success in the long run. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. And tonight, through 30 minutes, I thought Carolina was fine. They weren't great, but they certainly weren't bad. They certainly weren't trailing 3-0 bad, except that the three mistakes were, in fact, bad. And we'll go through them because I think it's worth pointing out that these really were the moments where Carolina just allowed the goals. Antti Raanta was very good in the first period. By the way, Carolina's played 12 times this year. Eight times they have conceded the first goal. In 4 of their games, they have allowed a goal in the last 2.5 minutes of regulation. Last 2.5 minutes of the first period. Those are bad goals to allow, but that's what these are some of the things that have been plaguing Carolina. At some point, those things will stop happening. And I think what we saw, for the most part, all game, but certainly in the last 30 minutes, that's Carolina Hurricanes hockey. And that's why Carolina was picked to win the Stanley Cup and why Carolina's won 3 consecutive divisions and all of that. And look, I'm wearing a hat. You know why? Because it's cold outside. And for those people who know, I have a screened-in porch, and that's where I do everything because the acoustics in the house are it sounds a little hollow. We have a lot of wood in the house, and I could probably dress up one of the spare rooms to, you don't care. Shouts to our friend Paul in Dublin. Ohio, Dublin? Or Ireland, Dublin? Not sure. And good afternoon to Mikhailov in Adelaide. We are intercontinental here on the Canes Corner podcast. All right, let's get to just more of the thoughts about the first part of the game. And I thought now's as good a time as any just to go through the 3 goals that the Islanders scored to make it 3-0. First goal. This is a 4-on-4 situation to a little about 2:20 left in the first period. Seth Jarvis, your job is to not let Noah Dobson cut to the middle of the ice. What did Noah Dobson do? Cut to the middle of the ice. Force him outside, Seth. Just take it inside, take away the inside, force him outside, force him wide. Nope. Right to the middle of the ice. Seth's made some last 2 games. Seth has made some bad defensive plays, and I'm sure there will be video sessions. Second goal, that's the shorthanded goal, right? Carolina's, I think, having a very snappy power play. I thought Carolina's power play was very good tonight. Isn't that kind of funny to say? because it's been good for a while. But the power play was good tonight, and then puck comes out to Brent Burns at the blue line on the left. He's on his backhand. He misplays it. He falls down. It's a 2-on-0, and that's a goal. Just got to be better at the blue line. Burns has to get the puck through. He can't let his backhand pass get knocked down at the blue line. That puck has to get through. And then the third goal started like right in front of Ilya Sorokin. And Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat did a give and go. Really, it was mostly Barzal who just skated up ice. I think it was Teuvo Teravainen played Matador defense just inside the blue line, and the pass to Horvat, and Nate just played Matador defense. It was just ugly. But for the most part, Carolina was really good tonight. Those three moments that lead to three Islander goals, Raanta was not at fault on any of them. Again, I thought he played well. I mean, those things have to stop so Carolina doesn't find themselves playing well and down 3. But boy, did they come back. So last 10 minutes of the third period wasn't awesome, but it was good. You get the goal from Jalen Chatfield. I'm not sure the puck didn't deflect twice on the way through. And the cool thing about the Chatfield goal, there were a lot of cool things about the Chatfield goal, but the cool thing is that it came, let's do the math here, 32 seconds after Barzal made it 3-0. Those quick answers are really good. And so now it's 3-1. It's not awesome, but it gives you the opportunity. Now you're back in the game. If you can get one, there's plenty of time left in the period. Get one here, get one early in the third, make it a one-shot hockey game. Anyway, Carolina had some chances. Couldn't get it. 3-1 after 2. But again, they were playing well. Third period. Any chances. Jack Drury hits the post. Andrei Svechnikov gets, I think it was Aho to Svechnikov, and he just couldn't elevate the puck. Great save by Sorokin. Then the save on Stahl, which was a better save than anything we had seen pretty much all night. That was a great save. And then you've got just many opportunities to score. On the power play, right, we'll halt. We'll go back to the power play. And then you get the Dmitry Orlov goal. By the way, Rod changed his lines, actually exchanged centers in the third period. He moved Aho between Teravainen and Necas, although that was also Steph Nason at times. And he moved Kotkaniemi in between Jarvis and Svechnikov. Seth Jarvis is like Carolina's best net front guy. The little guy is really good in front of the net. That's just, gosh. If Seth Jarvis doesn't make you smile as a Hurricanes fan, I don't know what's wrong. Because he does that for me. He makes me smile because he is fun to watch. He is feisty. He does not give a damn about the fact that he's 5'10". He plays like he's much bigger than that. He is physical. He is fearless. And now that he's got long hair and that awful mustache, he looks even more like a hockey player. So Jarvis's net front on the Orlov goal is everything because Sorokin never saw it. Never saw it. Jarvis goes right to the front of the net. Sebastian Aho, the Islander, is trying to get him off the spot. He can't. Jarvis jumps out of the way. I'm not sure that the shot did hit. It either hit Aho or it hit Sorokin, but he never saw it. Either way. And that makes it 3-2. And then not that long after that, Carolina's on the power play. And I guess they went to the power play about a minute later, maybe about a minute and a half later, because at the very end of the power play, and the power play was good. It generated chances. Teuvo Teravainen's passed across the top of the crease to Sebastian Aho. If Sorokin doesn't get a paddle on it, Aho finishes that. And it's 3-3 there. But then 4 seconds left. Here's the thing, Rod, that late in the power play, Rod will normally let the stall line take the draw, but he let Kotkaniemi take it, and they didn't win the draw, but they won the play. Steph Mason goes and helps dig it out of the corner. Andre takes the puck behind the net and just throws a gorgeous pass back to the near side of the net. Kotkaniemi knows that that pass is coming, and he roofs it over Sorokin, and it's 3-3. And from that point on, Carolina had more chances. Just a great chance. Jarvis to Kotkaniemi, and the deflection goes, I don't know, maybe a puck width wide. They had great opportunities to score and end this in regulation, just couldn't do it. And then Antti Ranta makes the save in overtime. No, really, he does.
Dobson hammers it. Ranta makes the save.
Makes it even more impressive because Ranta, the Hurricanes dominated the third period like they did. He has not seen much action. That was a super stop.
It was a super stop.
Dobson hammers it. Ranta makes the save.
It makes it even more impressive because Ranta, the Hurricanes dominated the third period like they did. He has not seen much action. That was a super stop.
And there is that man, Marty Necas. He'll drop it for Aho. Aho with a lane. He shoots. He scores! Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime. Carolina 4, Islanders 3.
Marty Necas did get an assist on that, so it's overtime. So Necas must figure it on all goals. But that was a big one for Aho. I've been saying this for a while. Sebastian has played okay. He's been fine. He has certainly not played poorly, but Sebastian also needs to score goals for this team. And yes, he had missed 3 games with an injury, but he has not scored since the shorthanded goal against the Kings in the second game of the season. He still has not scored at 5-on-5 because overtimes are 3-on-3, and he scored at 4-on-5. So when Sebastian can, find the time to mix in a 5-on-5 goal, I would appreciate it. We still haven't seen an Andrei Svechnikov goal, and that pass was elite. An absolute elite, as my kid would say, a dot. I don't even know what that means, but that's what he uses for all great passes. What a dot. And that's what it was. Great pass. But it was good to see Aho played well. Jarvis, I thought, had a good night apart from the defensive lapse. Svechnikov's game, you could tell, is getting there. He too needs to score goals. Carolina needs Svech on the score sheet. But I am super, super impressed with what Jesperi Kotkaniemi has been able to do this year. He really has been very good. Now, I will just caution, I am not trying to take any wind out of the Jesperi Kotkaniemi sails, but he was playing this way right before the trade deadline last year, and it put Carolina in a position to, in their mind, not need something, but if they wanted something, they would go get it. And need and want, if you're a parent, you understand. Need and want are 2 different things. And so it changed their mindset. So nothing really presented itself to the Hurricanes, so they opted for Shane Gostisbehere, who was brought to kind of help the power play. I thought Shane was good. And Jesse Puljujärvi, who was brought here to take up space. And he was not good. He was bad. And what they really needed was another offensive player last year, especially without Svech. Well, they didn't lose Svech until after, but without Pacioretty, they had room. They should have replaced it with an offensive player, and they could have done. But we don't need to go relitigate the trade deadline last year. But the whole point of that was that leading up to that point, Kotkaniemi was producing offense. And then after that, like Martin Necas, he didn't. Not really. But this Kotkaniemi has been good many ways that aren't just the goals and the assists. But the goals and the assists are necessary. Like you can be like Jordan Stahl is a great player without the goals and the assists. Jesperi Kotkaniemi isn't that. So he's a good player, and I think he is getting better and better defensively. But he needs the points to justify being a 2C on this team. And he's getting them. What he's got I think he had 12 points in 12 games now. So it's just been really good. And the goal he scored tonight, he had the assist on the Orlov goal. Now, it's the second time in the last, 5 games? Go back to the Seattle game. And it's his goal from Martin Necas that ties the game at 2 and sends it to overtime. Remember? It's Kokoniemi's goal, the quick release shot from the slot off the pass from Necas. That ties the game. So he's starting to get himself a little reputation for scoring big goals. All very good. Does Carolina have some issues? Yeah, they do. There are too many defensive breakdowns that end up as goals. Those have to stop. Uh, Players like Brent Burns haven't quite hit their stride yet, but give him time. He'll be fine. And playing next to Jacob Slavin almost guarantees that. I thought we saw a very good game from Brady Shea again, Jalen Chatfield again, Dmitry Orlov I thought was pretty good tonight. I actually thought Tony DeAngelo was good tonight. The one thing that DeAngelo kind of botched, he made up for by getting back, hustling back, getting behind the play. So I thought there were a lot of encouraging signs from a lot of players tonight. And again, we get mesmerized by the scoreboard, and I think Carolina played a good game tonight. I really do. Uh, so really no complaints at all. Try to get some comments here, but I also want you to hear from the head coach if we can. Let's do that.
Well, it was obviously tough to go down 3. We weren't playing poorly. We just made a couple of mistakes, and their talent got us. When obviously Barzal made a hell of a play on the one goal, and Shorty was unfortunate. And but then I love the way we played the rest of the way. I mean, I even commented in between periods that if we can keep playing that, win or lose, this is how we have to do things. And then third was better. So it's a great win for the boys. They deserve it.
The Canes are now tied with Detroit for the league in goals in the third period. What do you think that says about the resiliency of this group?
Yeah, well, I do think it says something. It says that when we get to our game, it works, right? I think we got to figure out how to get to it from the start. I think we're maybe, I don't know what it is, but whenever we get down, it's a lot easier to obviously just go with it. And, we don't want to be doing that, though. That's not a recipe for success. But I love the way we played tonight. Especially after we got down.
2 goals by defensemen who logged their first of the season. How helpful was that here tonight?
Wow, it's crucial. We need everyone to contribute, but in today's game, it's all about getting your defense in the offense. And nice to see both those guys connect, and especially Orly, as the newcomer. So I think that was a big weight off his shoulders.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Sorry about that. That's the head coach, Rod Brindamore. Yeah, it was good to see Dmitry Orlov score. It was good to see Jalen Chatfield score. Better to see Sebastian Aho score. No offense to either of the 2 defensemen, but it's time for the Ahos and the Svechnikovs to get on the score sheet, right? It's time for the big guys to go on a little bit of a run. And we spoke to my friend Michael Leboff, who writes for the Action Network, covers the NHL, but he also is a big Islanders fan and does an Islanders podcast. So when Hurricanes play the Islanders, I talked to him for Storm Watch. And he kind of felt, having watched a few of the Hurricanes' most recent games, he felt that the Hurricanes were about to get on one of those Canes runs. Well, maybe tonight was the impetus for that. Buffalo at home on Tuesday, and then they go to the state of Florida for games against the Panthers and Lightning on Friday and Saturday of next week. And then they're home for a while. So this is about we'll just say a 10-game stretch where it's time to see some home games, obviously, but the defense has been playing well since that game in Tampa, right? We remember it started there. We talked about it. They started playing well defensively and win that game. Had to fight through the entire game against Seattle just to get to overtime. But then we have seen it hasn't been a gong show like it was the first, what, 6 games of the season. I mean, the defense was just horrific the first 6 games of the season. Remember, Carolina had allowed 30 goals through 6 games. 30 through 6 games. Since then, it's been pretty good. They've been kind of hurricane-like. Still too many mistakes, but they've been hurricane-like. But now, when you've got these games, and there's only 2 more road games, I think, in Carolina's next 8, it's time to start cranking up offensively. It's time to get Aho and Svechnikov and Natchez. Teravainen has been great. Jarvis has been good too. But it's time to get these guys going offensively. And it's time to get Brent Burns going offensively, right? He's a big part of what they do on offense. Brady Shea's just got the 1 goal. Like, Brady Shea's not supposed to score a lot of goals. I'm pretty comfortable saying this. The 18 goals he scored last year, that's gonna be the outlier. It's a good thing he was not up for a contract this past summer because scoring 18 goals, that's the time you go to market. But I think Brady's a good offensive player. He's a really good defenseman. I think if it's up to Rod Brind'Amour, Shea and Pesce are both back on long-term deals. They won't be 8 years, but I think they'll be 4 years. Maybe you give Pesce a 1-year bump, benefit of the doubt, right? Just an extra year. But I think that if you're the Hurricanes, you want them together to be part of this going forward. And then you want Chatfield, the kid Nikishin. Nikishin is what, 2 years away, right? Anyway, there's a lot of good things to think about as everything kind of rushes through my brain at the same time. But this stretch of games is when you want to see everything start coming into focus. Well, you want all of those pieces to be kind of showing you what it's about and what it's going to look like when we get to hockey in April and May and hopefully June. But it was good to see Sebastian Aho score a goal tonight. All right, from forget who it was, but I saw this and I thought it was 100% true. And yes, Paul, I figured you were in Ireland. You would not have mentioned that you were in Dublin, Ohio. I was just flexing that I know that there's a Dublin, Ohio. The play of Tony DeAngelo, which I thought was good tonight. Here's what tonight said to me as much as anything. Jalen Chatfield plays. You know me, I've been saying this for months and months and months. I love Tony DeAngelo. I love what he brings to the team. I think Tony's a good player. I think he might not be a top 4 defenseman in the NHL, but he is definitely a good piece on any good team. But he is not better than Jalen Chatfield for this team. And when Brett Pesce comes back, and Brett goes exactly where he belongs, which is playing alongside Brady Shea, Dmitry Orlov needs to play with Jalen Chatfield, not Tony DeAngelo. Now, it's very difficult to keep everybody healthy all year long. Tony can play anywhere. Tony can play with Jacob Slavin. Tony can play with Brady Shea. So if they get another injury, Tony can play. I don't believe they really thought they would still have Brett Pesce at this point, which was the reason they really went after Tony DeAngelo. But now that we're here, Tony D should be the extra defenseman. Occasionally there'll be a game, you'll go 11-7. Tony will come on the ice. He'll run your power play a little bit. That's the benefit of Tony. He's the best defenseman they have at running the power play. But while the point man is important, I think your forwards are at least as important, maybe more, to power play success. So I think the Hurricanes can have a good power play, even if Tony DeAngelo's not on the ice. So I really did. I do. I love Tony, but I believe that it has to be Jalen Chatfield playing with Dmitry Orlov. Couple of things. Apparently, Elliot Friedman said the Canes are looking to move a defenseman when Brett comes back. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Hurricanes traded DeAngelo. I wouldn't be shocked if they traded him at all. So we'll see what happens. But having 7 NHL defensemen is it's a bonus. I wouldn't make a trade unless it made me better. Legitimately better. I wouldn't make a trade to just give somebody playing time elsewhere. Wouldn't send somebody out on loan. Nah, man. I'd keep all 7 defensemen. All right, the fourth line. What do I think of the fourth line? I think the fourth line is when everybody's healthy, when Michael Bunting is back. Your fourth line is a third scoring line. I think Jack Drury has played okay. I thought Jack Drury was pretty good the last couple of games. Drury rung the post. I think tonight, I think we would be thinking differently about Jack Drury if that puck didn't hit the post, but hit the net. I think they're going to give Jack Drury another few weeks. Hey, if the Hurricanes can find themselves a legit center that can help score, they're going to do it. But if the Hurricanes, I think the Hurricanes are going to give Jack Drury another couple of weeks. And if it doesn't work, I think they're going to kick the tires on Vasily Ponomarev. They just sent him to, I believe, Tucson in the AHL, so he is back and getting ready to play. That's what I think they will do. I think they will try Ponomarev before they try anything else, and I'm good with that. And I'm also good with letting Jack kind of play through the next month before you make that determination. But I think Drury's been pretty good the last couple of games. So let's go. That's all I got on a very chilly Saturday night here in Oxford, North Kakalaki. Shouts to you in Adelaide. Shouts to those of you in Perth or Brisbane or Gunga Bunga. I don't remember the name of the town that the guy said he was in. And of course, you in Dublin. We are intercontinental. This has been the Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcast. And I don't say this enough because frankly, I feel like I'm begging. Matt is in Dallas. All right, way to go. I don't like to do this because I feel like I'm begging. But if you are a fan, subscribe to this on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast in its normal podcast state, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a rating or a review if you like. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but all of these things help, and I get very warm and fuzzy emails from the podcast people at the company. So, if you like it, feel free to do that. Other than that, we're done for the evening. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. For the exterior of your home, you can see it right there at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Windows, doors, entry doors, storm doors, gutter helmets. I might have them out here to put panels up over the screened-in porches, so in January, it's not like 1 degree while I do the podcast. Until Tuesday, when the Canes beat Buffalo. Yeah, I said beat. We'll see everybody then. I wish you all a wonderful good night and have a great Sunday.